This video lesson is the first on 3 lessons that will take you through writing an essay on symbolism in the 3 poems that we looked at. So the essay is, what is a symbol? And symbols represent complicated and abstract ideas concretely. When used by a group of people, they reflect common values, principles, or beliefs. They can unite people to a common cause. Poets often write about symbols. Because they represent abstract ideas, they are uniquely suited to being analyzed with figurative language. We analyzed 3 such poems: the New Colossus, the Eagle, and Ode to the Flag. You are to choose 2 of these poems and write a well-organized essay analyzing the symbol in each poem and what the symbolism reveals about the poet's view of the country. You should be sure to include quotes from each poem to support your analysis and cite the quotes with the author's last name. You don't include line number, just the last name. You can include the quotes one of 2 ways. You can introduce your quotes with an appropriate introductory anchor, such as the author said, the poet said, or name the poet always using the last name only, Lazarus said. Or you can weave the quotes into your sentence directly. For example, by using the words "Glow's worldwide welcome," the poet reveals the world sees the statue as a symbol of hope that America is home. If you are doing it this way, you would put the citation directly after the quote in your sentence. So, how are you going to organize your essay? Well, what you're going to do is you are going to take this sheet that you filled out and we're going to turn them into a paragraph. Okay, so you can choose which 2 of the poems you're going to do, and basically you're just going to take each thing that you wrote in here and turn it into one paragraph. You should have one paragraph for each poem. So 2 body paragraphs. So I have a checklist for you to use on how to write your body paragraphs. Okay, so the body paragraphs follow your introduction, contain the content of your essay. You should write 1 paragraph for each text or source that you are analyzing. You should write them first before the introduction or the conclusion because they are the most important part of your essay. They are what is going to determine the majority of your grade, and so you should spend the most time on them, writing the introduction and conclusion when you are done, okay? Because you can always shorten those if you need to without affecting your grade as much. So always start with your body paragraphs. To organize your paragraph, first you have to have a topic sentence, and the topic sentence should tell the reader what the paragraph is about. So in this case, you have to identify which source or text, in this case a poem, you will be discussing in that paragraph, and summarize the purpose of the paragraph. So in this case, you can tell us which poem and what the symbol is. So I give you an example for each of the 3 poems. You are welcome to use these as a model. You may not write them word for word, but you can use them as a model so you can just rearrange the order of the clauses. So, for example, in The New Colossus by Emma Lazarus, the Statue of Liberty is a symbol of liberty and safety for refugees and immigrants. So, I tell you which poem it is, who the author is, what the symbol is, and overall what the symbol represents that I'm going to prove with what I say in my paragraph. The bald eagle, the national bird of the United States of America, is a symbol of freedom in Emily M. Paris's poem, The Eagle. I have the same information. I have the poem, I have the poet, I have what the symbol is, the eagle, and what the symbol represents, 4 things. I just put them in a different order. And then finally, Linda Sheehan Cunningham explores the symbolism of the United States flag in her poem, Ode to the Flag. So the same thing, right? The poet, the title of the poem, and the symbol, the flag, that I'm going to be discussing. So you can use these 3 as examples. Again, you cannot write any one of them word for word, but you can rearrange, could say the national bird of the United States, the bald eagle, and Emily M. Paris's poem, The Eagle, is a symbol of freedom, right? So you can take the chunks of phrases that I have in here and rearrange them in a different order for your topic sentence, okay? Basically, That's this first statement on your analysis sheet. What idea does it symbolize in the poem, right? What does the bald eagle symbolize? Whatever you wrote here is what you're going to include as that fourth thing in your topic sentence, okay? So then, after you have your topic sentence, you're going to analyze the symbolism. So you're going to explain the symbolism in the poem by analyzing how the author describes the symbol. So if you say it's a symbol for freedom or it's a symbol for liberty and safety, right, then you have to give me examples of how the symbol, the Statue of Liberty or the eagle or the flag was described that shows that. So you give me an example of how it was described, providing evidence, and explain how the symbol is similar to the United States, okay? So again, you're going to take how it was described and how it was similar, right? And then so you're going to take your quote and explain how it was similar. So I'm going to show you what I mean here. All right, so I'll give you an example here first. So we'll start with a transition word, depending on which example it is, your first, your second, or your third. First, the poet described the statue as a mother welcoming people to her home. The poet wrote, her name, Mother of Exiles, from her beak in hand glows worldwide welcome. When the Statue of Liberty welcomes people, she represents the citizens of America and tells the world that Americans will welcome new arrivals to the country. So that's how they're like, right? The Statue of Liberty is saying, I welcome people, and so she's showing that Americans would do the same thing. She stands in and says, this is how Americans would treat new arrivals. Next, and then I would say the next thing that I had picked off of my sheet, right, my analysis sheet. Notice I quoted it, and you do put the line slashes in to show your line breaks in your poem if you're going from one line to the next, okay? Another example from the flag. First, according to Cunningham, the flag's colors represent characteristics of Americans. She wrote, red stands for courage and hardiness. Americans have always been courageous and strong, from the early colonial settlers to the soldiers who fought in the wars to the astronauts that went to the moon. Also, and then I would go on to my next example of how the flag represents America, okay? And then if I was doing the eagle, in addition, this would be if it was like a second or a third example, just to show you a different transition. So in addition, the poet described the eagle as a noble beacon for the world. She wrote that he is a beacon for humanity and a splendid, noble sight. Notice again, I have the line break here. Like the eagle, America is an example for the world of a better, more noble form of government. So I'm taking the words and phrases, the quote, and how it's explained. I do add a sentence in here, right, saying the author described the eagle as blank, and then I put the quote. So try not to do it word for word. Try to kind of summarize, big picture, how it was described before the quote, so you're not just repeating yourself. If you think you're repeating yourself, you can combine those into one sentence by weaving the quote into your description. This would always be a separate sentence, okay? And so you're going to do that. So you're going to have your topic sentence is number one. Then you're going to give 3 examples, right? So this would be 3 sentences, right? So one sentence, quote, and explain. One sentence, quote, and explain. One sentence, quote, and explain. So that's, you know, with the quotes in there, potentially 9 sentences right there. So you have to 10 sentences in your paragraph right now. That's making any sense. And then you're going to conclude your paragraph by saying, number 3, how does the symbolism reflect or show how the poet feels about the country, how the symbolism reflects or shows how the poet feels about or views the country. So that would be this last sheet here. You would answer one of these 2 sentences about the poem, and so they're going to turn that into your concluding statements in your paragraph. I give you some examples. The poet feels awe and admiration for the eagle and for the freedom it symbolizes, which Americans enjoy. The admiration the poet feels for the Statue of Liberty reflects her view that welcoming immigrants and providing opportunities are fundamental values in America. When Cunningham sees the flag, she is reminded of the challenges America has faced and overcome to preserve our democracy and freedom. Okay, so it's whatever you put in that last line, you're going to turn it into a summary statement for your paragraph. Okay, so in terms of transitions within the paragraph, for this first row, you're probably going to say first, right? Then for this row, you could do anything like also, in addition, next, anything like that. And then the third one, you want to say maybe like finally, or a third example. You could use also or in addition again, something like that, those transitions that add information, right? And then go into your final statement. So you're going to pick any two of these poems, turn this into a body paragraph using the checklist to help you. And obviously, as you go, you're welcome to listen to this video again, so make sure you're bringing headphones, and ask questions in class as you're writing. That's what I'm there for.